Each year, there are hundreds of Bigfoot sightings across the country. Some people devote their lives to the pursuit of the creature.
It all begins with a strange noise in the woods. Then comes the footsteps, the encounter, and the footage that shouldn't exist. If you still have any doubts, tag along, because these are the most convincing Bigfoot videos that'll leave you shocked.
Give me the camera.
Hiking is fun until you come across something like this. While this woman was enjoying her hike, she noticed a figure sitting at the top of a tree. At first, she thought it was a person, but as she looked closer, she saw thick fur all over its body. It wasn't a person at all. It was Bigfoot. She quickly pulled out her phone and recorded it, making sure she had proof of what she saw. The creature didn't move, just sat there watching. That day changed her completely. She promised herself she'd never step into that part of the woods again. Some places aren't meant to be explored. Furious giant. A hunter stood quietly in the woods, ready for the prey, but his patience was fading. Hours had passed with no sign of deer or elk. Then he heard it. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming from the trees to his left. He turned his head slightly, expecting a bear, but what stepped into view wasn't like anything he'd ever seen. It was massive, covered in thick brown fur, walking upright. A Bigfoot. Not calm, but furious. The hunter froze, holding his breath. He knew one wrong sound could draw its attention, so he stayed hidden, motionless, hoping it would pass. And that was the first time he got scared. Hill sighting. In Illinois, back in 2012, a tourist was enjoying a winter hike on top of a hill. The view was peaceful until a strange thing caught his eye. A massive figure was walking nearby. It wasn't normal. The height alone was shocking, easily 8 to 9 feet tall, and it looked like a beast covered in thick fur. The tourist didn't panic. Instead, he stayed calm, kept quiet, and slowly backed away without drawing attention. That smart move may have saved him, because what he saw that day was clearly a Bigfoot, and not one anyone would want to disturb. Wood ape.
Oh, come on!
A woman was hiking in the woods like she often did, but this time it was different. A moment she couldn't forget. As she walked, she saw a brown beast covered in thick fur heading her way. She froze, scared like anyone would be. But the beast didn't even glance at her. It just kept moving into the woods. She stood there, shaking, remembering all the stories about the North American wood ape. That day confirmed them for her. After that encounter, she never stepped into those woods again. Hunting standoff.
Give me the camera.
A group of friends went hunting in the woods, scanning the area for their prey. Suddenly, they came face to face with a large, black figure staring directly at them. They stood frozen for a few seconds, locked in eye contact, before the creature moved back into the woods. Unlike others, these friends felt something was different, so they chased after it. But no matter how fast they ran, the creature vanished without a trace. Left with only questions, they couldn't shake the feeling that they had just encountered Bigfoot. The memory of that moment stayed with them, never fading.
Didn't get pushed on play until...
But when did you realize it wasn't a bear?
Well, when I realized it wasn't a bear, when we were sitting here and with the foliage and everything, the undergrowth here, but then as I got the camera and stood up and you grabbed your bow, when it stopped right there at that pine.
Sasquatch family. A hunter was deep in the woods, waiting quietly for his prey. But what he captured on camera was far from normal. A massive creature moved through the trees. It looked like a large male beast. Right behind him came another one, smaller, likely a female, holding what seemed to be their child. It didn't take long for the hunter to realize what he had just seen, a family of Sasquatch. He stayed hidden, barely making a sound. Luckily, they didn't notice him. If they had, things might have turned the other way, and the hunter could have ended up being the hunted. Ski trail.
Better not die. You better not crash, I'm telling you.
While out skiing, a man noticed something unusual in the distance. As he glided down the trail, he spotted a tall, dark figure peeking from behind a tree. Its height and shape looked just like the classic image of Bigfoot. Surprised, the skier kept filming. But then, the video abruptly cut off, leaving no clue about what happened next. Was it just a strange shadow, or something more? With no follow-up footage or explanation, the encounter remained a mystery, short yet creepy, leaving people to wonder what really crept behind the trees.
Crash, I'm telling you why. 'Cause you told your wife you're...
DNA proof.
News out of Texas, Bigfoot is real. According to a group of researchers, they call themselves the Sasquatch Genome Project, and they released what they say is proof. Several never-before-seen short video clips of the legendary and very shy creature.
In 2005, in the woods of Kentucky, something unusual was caught on camera. A creature with large, hairy, and still was seen sleeping in daylight. The footage wasn't shared right away. It came out years later, released by a group from Texas called the Sasquatch Genome Project. They had spent 5 years quietly working on it, investing over $5 million. They believed it was Bigfoot. The group said this wasn't just a wild claim. They also had DNA evidence. One researcher even admitted that the moment they saw it, their beliefs changed forever. If what they captured is real, it could be the clearest sign yet that Bigfoot does walk among us.
We've all had experiences that have changed our lives. I mean, literally shook the foundations of what we believe in.
Caged beast. You might have seen many weird videos, but nothing compares to this one. In January 2023, a video surfaced online that shook the entire internet. It showed a massive cage in a remote area, and inside was a beast, furious, thrashing, and trying to break free. Despite its strength, it couldn't escape. Then, in a strange twist, one of the researchers, with the help of a tranquilizer, took it down, entered the cage, and took a sample for scientific research. What exactly happened next is still unclear. The footage was recorded, but the details remain unknown. However, one thing was certain: they had captured a real-life Bigfoot. Chicken theft. You might have seen different videos, but this one is quite unique. A local was crossing the woods, just like any other day, when he spotted not one, but 2 furry beings running through the trees. The strange part? One of them was holding a chicken in its hand. You don't typically see Bigfoot with a chicken, let alone one seemingly snatched up during its run. The way they were moving suggested they had stolen it, probably from a nearby farm. The local, not wanting to get involved in the mysterious chicken incident, decided it was best to stay put and not press forward any further. Woods warning. This is why you shouldn't visit the woods alone. A local was wandering in a remote part of the woods, a place few ever enter. As he walked, a strange sense of fear crept over him, like something was watching. He looked around and noticed, just a few trees away, a massive dark figure peeking out from behind them. Before he could react, it quickly disappeared behind the tree, vanishing like it had never been there. Terrified, he turned and ran, not daring to look back. He knew exactly what he had seen, a Sasquatch, and it wasn't a good sign, especially when you're all alone in the woods. Snow evidence.
You can't just see something that's maybe a once-in-a-century discovery and go do your 9-to-5 job. You gotta go look for fur or footprints or some kind of evidence.
It was a cold January morning in Provo, 2019, when a group of friends noticed a strange thing on the mountain. It stood tall, motionless, and far too large to be a person. One of them couldn't shake the image, so he grabbed a friend and a camera, determined to find more clues. As they hiked up, they found strange prints in the snow. Nothing like deer tracks. Could it have been a bear? An expert from a local museum later dismissed that theory, but the group still wasn't convinced. Whatever they had seen didn't fit any known creature, and the memory haunted them long after.
Was it a bear? Maybe. That's plausible. Was it a person? Also plausible. Was it something else? I think that's also plausible. Who knows?
Woodland encounter. While passing through the woods, a villager heard someone coming from nearby. He looked around, trying to locate the source of the noise. Suddenly, he saw a large black creature moving towards the depths of the woods. It was none other than the infamous Sasquatch, a figure he had only heard stories about, but now, standing face to face with the creature, it was real for him. It was no longer just a tale whispered by others. It had become his own terrifying nightmare. Silent stalker. Hunting can be fun, but sometimes it's the complete opposite, as happened with this hunter who was sitting calmly on a tree branch, waiting for his prey, unaware that he was so close to becoming prey himself. Suddenly, he heard something moving his way. At first, he thought it might be a deer, but when he looked, it wasn't a deer. It was a massive beast, possibly searching for him. The creature stayed for only a few seconds, then disappeared back into the woods. He let out a breath of relief, realizing just how close he had come to an encounter he never wanted. City beast. In Tennessee, a local was spending time in the park when he noticed a strange movement. He pulled out his phone and recorded an elusive beast roaming near the trees. But what truly scared him was the way its shoulders moved, stretching in a way that didn't seem natural. It looked more like an ape than anything else, but much bigger. For a moment, he just stood there, shocked that something like this could live in a city park. He didn't wait around to find out more. He decided to leave the area immediately and decided never to return to that place again. To him, that park now belonged to the beast.
Do you see that? Do you see that?
Night growls. While camping in the mountains, a camper woke up to loud, heavy growls echoing through the trees. Startled, he looked around but couldn't see anyone nearby. Then he noticed one of the trees shaking violently, as if something powerful was hitting it. Whatever it was, it had serious strength. The camper didn't wait to find out more. He quietly grabbed his things and decided to leave the area, hoping he hadn't been seen. From the tree's movement, it was clear something big was out there, and locals said it would be a woo ape, which is pretty famous there. And staying any longer could have made things much worse. Sunshine sighting. This footage was taken in the hinterland near Nambour on the Sunshine Coast, Queensland, Australia. A hiker had paused near a rocky area and spotted what seemed like an old, abandoned tent. Curious, he moved closer to investigate. But just as he focused on the tent, the camera captured something else. Something moving behind the trees. A tall, dark figure appeared in the background, barely visible at first. When slowed down, the footage revealed more detail. Long limbs and a strange, upright posture. A second glimpse confirmed it. The infamous wood ape, a creature used to scare people. Realizing what he had seen, the hiker quickly decided it was best to leave the area. Forest encounter. On October 21st, 2023, a local was enjoying a peaceful walk in the woods when things took a strange turn. He suddenly saw a man running toward him, looking terrified. Just behind him was a huge black creature chasing him. But the moment the creature noticed someone else was standing there, it changed direction and vanished into the trees. Shocked, the local ran after it, hoping to get a better look, but it was gone. Still, from the little he saw, it looked just like Bigfoot. It didn't stay long, but its short appearance was enough to leave everyone talking. walking. Something big might still be hiding in those woods. Chased briefly. Two friends were trekking through the forest, enjoying the calm around them. Suddenly, one of them spotted a heavy figure that had appeared from behind the trees. Tall, fast, and clearly not human. Without a second thought, he shouted, and his friend took off running. The creature chased for a moment but stopped once the friend got far enough. Then, as if nothing had happened, it turned and disappeared back into the woods. What they saw wasn't just any animal, it was Bigfoot. They were lucky it changed its mind, because if it hadn't, this story could have ended very differently. Hidden remains. A video surfaced online that shook everyone. It showed the son of a hunter revealing more than just a story. In the video, he displayed actual body parts of a Bigfoot that his father had hunted. Among the items was a massive pair of feet, looking ancient and real. The son claimed it was all genuine, and the video quickly went viral. Speculation spread that he had more parts hidden away, with plans to release them later. To this day, people eagerly wait for his next video, hoping to uncover more proof of the legendary creature. Touring body.
Indigenous people of the area certainly knew about the Sasquatches that they lived among. When white settlers started coming into the area, they also ran across Sasquatches, and they reported them as wild men or wild women. And you can read newspaper reports and from settlers from as early as the 1920s or even the late 1800s.
In 2012, a hunter claimed to have taken down an elusive beast near San Antonio, Texas. After setting up bait with pork ribs and deer scent, he waited. Hours later, a large, hairy figure appeared, and he managed to bring it down. He shared photos of the body, 8 feet tall, heavy, and undeniably strange-looking. It was a Bigfoot, or so he claimed. He even took the body on tour, charging people to see it. However, some experts pointed out odd details in the photos, like the face and eyes, which raised doubts. Despite the controversy, Hunter stood firm on his story, and the mystery of the body still sparks debate today.
What I find problematic is that he says he shot it with a shotgun several times, and yet there's no evidence of that on the body.
Mountain sighting. In Colorado, America, passengers on a train were crossing the mountains when something unusual caught their attention. On top of the mountains, a tall figure was walking. It was much taller than any normal person. As soon as it noticed the train, it quickly sat down, maybe to hide. But it was too late. The passengers had already seen it clearly. It stayed seated until the train passed. From its height, shape, and movements, people were sure it was Bigfoot. The video went viral, and from that day, many started believing that Bigfoot might actually live in those Colorado mountains. Hairy intruder. Scientists were researching buffalo behavior in extreme weather when an unexpected thing happened. During the recording, a hairy figure was caught crossing the frame in the background. The footage didn't reveal what happened next, but it was enough to send shockwaves through the scientific community. The researchers were stunned to realize that they had captured a possible Sasquatch on camera. The discovery raised many questions. Could there be more of these creatures in the area? And more importantly, does the government already know about Sasquatch? The mystery only deepened, leaving everyone wondering what the footage really meant. Cave face. A group of explorers hiked into a remote forest, drawn by stories of creepy sightings. In the woods, they found a narrow cave known for strange noises. One of them decided to go in alone, while the others waited outside. As he stepped inside, suddenly, through a crack in the cave wall, he saw a face staring at him. It was covered in thick fur, with dark eyes that didn't blink. It looked just like the creature they had only heard about. Without a second thought, he backed away slowly. He knew he had to get out fast, because whatever it wasn't planning to stay hidden. Thrown stone.
So it's cooler in here.
Yeah, it is nice.
Feel the temperature drop?
In Australia, a nature lover was walking through the woods when suddenly a stone came flying toward him, but missed by inches. He turned around, but there was no one in sight. He knew it had been thrown from above. He searched the area, but still, no one was there. What made it stranger was that this spot was famous for Bigfoot sightings and even Yowie encounters. He couldn't shake the feeling that something like that was involved. Luckily, nothing appeared in front of him. He was relieved to make it out safely. He wasn't sure what would have happened if it did. Preserved hand.
It is real. It's a Bigfoot hand.
On February 20th, 2025, a video surfaced online that stunned viewers everywhere. The footage showed a hand, not the hand of a person or any known animal, but the hand of an elusive beast, only ever spoken of in stories. It was a hand of a Sasquatch, and it looked old, dry, and weathered, suggesting it had been preserved for years. The person in the video claimed that his father had discovered the hand back in the 1990s and had kept it hidden ever since. Now, the son was ready to reveal it to the world, sparking more curiosity and speculation about what else remains hidden from the public eye.
Her arm, it's an arm, you can see the size.
Clear evidence. The crew of Expedition Bigfoot had done countless searches before, but this time, things were different. While scanning a mountain with their long-range camera, they spotted movement. Just for a moment, a giant figure appeared between the trees, tall, broad, and walking upright. It wasn't a bear. It looked too human, yet not. As the camera zoomed in, the creature's giant arm swing caught their attention. That kind of movement matched what experts had claimed about Bigfoot's walk: powerful, exaggerated, and meant to carry its massive frame. The footage was clear enough to show its dark fur, huge shoulders, and height. The team believed they had captured solid proof. Maybe this was the moment they'd been waiting for. Mountain sighting. In Russia, a group of friends was heading home late at night from the mountain. As they were crossing through, a humanoid figure appeared in the distance. But this one wasn't human. It was much heavier and moved in a strange way. The moment was caught on their dash cam. The figure crossed right in front of them without stopping, without even looking around. It just kept moving. The friends stayed silent, watching it disappear into the dark. And if you're thinking what it might have been, yes, it was a Yeti. Frozen body.
Wrong. The Sasquatch has been found dead.
Yep. Take a look at this. The Sasquatch on ice.
Back in Georgia, two men claimed they found what everyone had been searching for: a real Bigfoot body. One was a former cop, the other a correctional officer. They said they discovered it deep in the woods and stored it in a freezer to keep it safe. A man known for hunting Bigfoot was called to see it himself. What he saw shocked him. The creature was over 7 feet tall with massive hands and feet. Even the teeth looked unusual, like a meat eater. Though the freezer failed and some of it thawed, early tests showed it wasn't fake. The body was later moved, but the public was promised a full reveal soon.
Just got back from Georgia, where two guys actually stumbled upon this out in the woods. One's an ex-officer, and another one is an ex-correctionals officer.
Tree uprooted. A hiker was on top of a mountain when he noticed a strange thing in the woods below. One of the trees was shaking wildly, like something powerful was pushing it. Within moments, the tree was ripped from the ground and carried away. The hiker couldn't believe what he saw. Locals had long said that area was known for Bigfoot sightings, and after what happened, many believed it again. The force needed to pull a tree like that wasn't normal for them. There was only one explanation. It had to be Bigfoot. Footprint theory.
1977 American anthropologist Grover Krantz believes that the Gigantopithecus could have survived in a small tribe in the remote areas of the Himalayas and therefore could be the basis for what the modern Yeti is.
Back in the 1950s, a British zoologist studied strange footprint photos taken by an explorer in the Himalayas. Curious, he made a plaster mold of what he thought the full print might have looked like. After studying it closely, he ruled out bears. Instead, he suggested it belonged to a large primate, possibly Gigantopithecus. Then, in 1977, an American anthropologist backed that idea. He believed some Gigantopithecus might still be alive in remote mountain regions and could explain the Yeti stories. The problem? Only a few fossils have ever been found, and no full skeleton exists. But some modern studies suggest the Yeti might be closer to humans than we thought.
After he examines this plaster cast, he determines this could not have been made by a bear. It had to be made by a very large bipedal hominid, and he determines that it is likely the Gigantopithecus.
Lab comparison.
I'm looking forward to meeting with Dr. Meldrum because he's already seen the videotape and he's interviewed the young guys who got the footage at the scene of the incident. He believes that what we're looking at in this footage really is a Sasquatch. Well, I want to know, in his academic opinion, what is it that makes him think it is a Sasquatch?
An exploration team visited a university lab known for its huge collection of strange footprint casts. The expert there, who studied how creatures walk on two legs, had already reviewed a new video. It showed a shadowy figure with broad shoulders and a strong arm swing. When compared to the famous Bigfoot footage, the movement looked nearly the same. One frame even showed the figure glancing back. There was one footprint that looked odd because of its toes, but the rest of it matched other known prints. While some still deny the creature's existence, the video and casts continue to raise real questions. Maybe Bigfoot is more than just a story after all.
Jeff was really impressed in that one spot where you see the arm swing, how when you do a side-by-side comparison with the Patterson film, the most famous and best piece of evidence to date, the similarities are striking. Like the ratio, arm length, the swing, the shoulder, the muscle, everything. I mean, he was impressed with it, so that impresses me.
Lake encounter. In 2016, a group of friends were hiking near Wild Horse Lake in the Steens Mountains, Oregon. They paused to take pictures by the lake when suddenly they spotted something in the background. It was running, but it wasn't human. It was much larger, more precisely, a Sasquatch. The figure moved quickly. The friends, stunned by what they had just witnessed, decided it was time to leave the area. They quickly packed up and left, not wanting to stick around any longer after seeing something they couldn't explain. Yeti discovery.
It was late in the afternoon on November the 8th, 1951, and Shipton and the expedition's doctor, Michael Ward, suddenly they came across a set of huge footprints that went away from them down the glacier.
At 17,500 feet, Everest Base Camp sat on a barren field of rocks and ice. Near this rugged landscape, a famous photo was taken, one that sparked the West's fascination with the Yeti. On November 8, 1951, a mountaineer and an expedition doctor were walking on a glacier when they spotted something strange, a line of massive footprints trailing across the ice. The prints were about 12 inches long and 5 inches wide. At such a high altitude, far above any human or known animal habitat, this discovery was puzzling. Locals, however, recognized them right away. They belong to the Yeti. This moment marked the beginning of worldwide Yeti fascination. Forest charge. This is why you shouldn't explore the woods at night alone. An explorer was roaming through the forest when, out of nowhere, a giant inhuman creature appeared and charged straight at him. Luckily, he managed to escape, but not without dropping his camera. The footage captured, what was it? A massive, ape-like creature. It was no myth, no story anymore. It was real. The creature was none other than the infamous wood ape. What once seemed like just a tale for campfires had turned into a terrifying reality, one that the explorer would never forget. Dog walk. In August 2019, a man in North Carolina was walking his dog through the woods when he captured a strange thing on video. Through the trees, a tall, dark shape emerged, and he immediately thought it was Bigfoot. Just before recording, he had heard loud grunts and seen a rock roll downhill, actions that didn't seem typical of any regular animal. Although the video was unclear, he also found large footprints at the scene, which he made casts of. Experts noted the detailed toes and foot shape, but some questioned the calm dog and the large stride. Despite the doubts, the man was certain about what he saw.
The sound is really loud and it's of quite a low pitch and frequency, so it travels far. So it's likely that it came from a large animal.
Frozen remains.
Now this one in particular isn't that big, but it is still a very large creature. Now it's desiccated because it's been in a freezer.
In September 1953, a man claimed that his father had recovered several Bigfoot bodies from a swamp. The creatures were so large that most had to be sliced into pieces to be moved. One smaller specimen was preserved mostly intact and frozen for over 65 years. The man noted that the creature had small, human-like feet, which apparently remained that way until adulthood. It was a male, covered in fur, with a muscular build and a missing foot, which had been stored separately. DNA tests were reportedly inconclusive, as the results came back as unknown. The man suggested these beings might be biological tools created by another species, possibly explaining the lack of bones found in the wild.
But it's interesting because the feet are still relatively small, like a human's, yet it appears to be an adult, yet it's not.
Forest encounter.
So here we go. First, the video shows there's the creature itself. It squats down behind a rock.
A group of explorers entered deep into a forest known for Bigfoot sightings. Their mission was to investigate a strange video filmed by a local. The video was short, just a few seconds, but it showed a large figure squatting behind a rock before disappearing into the trees. Some believed it was real, others thought it was a hoax. The local claimed it showed a male Bigfoot protecting a female day watcher. However, he refused to reveal the exact location, calling it too risky. The team decided to recreate the scene nearby. One of them climbed the ridge, hoping to spot the creature, but despite their efforts, the Sasquatch remained elusive.
Just 3 seconds, it's kind of shaky, he pans up, and then you see this big thing kind of just go down.
Shadow sighting. Captured deep in a forest in Canada, a YouTuber shared footage he believes shows the elusive Bigfoot. The video, only a few seconds long, shows a large, shadowy figure peeking from behind the trees. The YouTuber claims the creature's head was nearly twice the size of a human's, and it stared directly at him. The clip has sparked debate. Some believe it's one of the clearest Bigfoot sightings ever, while others argue it's just another hoax. With no follow-up footage, the truth remains uncertain. Real or not, the video has reignited interest in one of the world's greatest mysteries. Woodland escape. While exploring the remote parts of the woods, he stumbled upon something that would stay with him forever. In the distance, he noticed a massive ape-like creature. Its size and shape were unlike anything he'd ever seen. Fortunately, it was moving away from him, not toward him, or he might not have just been an eyewitness. Terrified by the encounter, he quickly turned around and decided to leave the area. He swore never to return, convinced that what he had seen was no ordinary animal. It was Bigfoot, and it had made its home deep in those woods. Dashcam giant. In the early morning of May 30th, 2024, a trucker arrived at a remote industrial site in Alberta, Canada, to pick up equipment. As he was heading back from the site, his dashcam captured something extraordinary. A massive creature, estimated to be 11 feet tall, staring straight at him. It was a wood ape, known for its unpredictable behavior. Thankfully, the trucker didn't notice at that time. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to get back. Remote cameras were later set up in the area, and months later, a landowner 20 miles away reported seeing the same creature again. Village fear. What would you do in a situation like this? A villager stepped outside his house for a walk when suddenly he got scared. Behind a tree stood a large, brown, heavy being. No ordinary animal, but Bigfoot. He got shocked as he realized what he was looking at. The creature didn't seem to notice him, but he couldn't shake the fear of what could happen if more of them came into the village. What would they do? The unknown seemed too much to handle, and he decided to hurry back inside, locked the door, and prayed it was just a one-time encounter. Baby discovery.
When you first look at it, you might immediately go, oh, that's no good and blah, blah, blah. But you gotta understand, when an animal dies, especially gorillas and orangutans specifically, because they have similar facial skin and features to the Sasquatch, I would think, even human beings, they look very artificial. They look kind of plasticky and something that would be easier for a special effects makeup artist to fake.
A new video surfaced online, capturing the attention of a Bigfoot researcher. The footage showed a baby Bigfoot lying in what seemed to be a lifeless state, filmed with unusual detail. The researcher spent several late nights studying it, comparing the body to images of gorillas and orangutans. The baby's swollen belly and decaying features looked strangely real, but with no news breaking about such a discovery, doubts crept in. What stood out most to him were the facial proportions, which didn't quite match a human's. He stayed cautious, but curiosity lingered. He called it part of the ongoing search for truth, hoping that in time, the real story would emerge. And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. In the footage, a white fur figure is seen standing still, next to what appears to be another being. Suddenly, the creature grabs it and moves wildly, tumbling down a steep incline. As it passes by the adventurer, it becomes clear. It's a Yeti, but what it took with it remained covered, leaving no clue as to what happened next. The fate of both the Yeti and whatever it carried is still a mystery, and people can't stop wondering about the truth behind the video.